Welcome back. I am your host, Susanna May O'Hagan. And today we have some missing persons cases, social unsolved cases. It might be a mix because let's just say I couldn't find a lot of information on these cases. Like hardly just maybe a page. Edward, I do not know how to say your middle name, Jr. Cudahy? Can you just read it to me? I just want to know how to pronounce it. Okay, for some reason it's not working. Let's just refresh and see what we can do. What? No. Okay. We'll just call him Edward C. Jr. because I can't pronounce it. Edward C. Jr., August 22nd, 1885, January 8th, 1966, also known as Eddie C., was kidnapped on December 18th, 1900 in Nebraska. Edward C. Sr., goodness, this is a weird way of saying it, was the wealthiest owner of the packing company which helped build the stockyards through the 1950s. Eddie Sr. paid the ransom for the return of his son and made the kidnappers Pat Carr C., a popular author, lecturer, and actor for a brief period. The Eddie case is said to have influenced many succeeding kidnappings, including those of the Lammer baby, Bobby Greenwich, and Minor Park kidnapping. On the evening of December 18th, 1900, well, that sounds so weird, 15-year-old Edward Jr. left his house to run an errand in his old gold Casket Coast. Sorry. Neighborhood. As he walked home, a carriage pulled beside him, and a man jumped out and grabbed him, pulling him inside. His father, the millionaire owner of the packing company at the stockyard, returned from a dinner engagement at 10:30 p.m. to discover his son missing. The next morning, the Omaha Bee, the Daily News, the World Herald all carried the story across their front pages. The next morning, C closed his plant and encouraged his 2,000 workers to look for his son. His competitors did the same, and soon 7,000 people were searching Omaha. At 9 a.m., he received a phone call advising him to search his front yard, where his coachman found a ransom note. Mr. C., we have kidnapped your child and demand $25,000 for his safe return. If you give us the money, we will return as safe as when you last saw him. But if you refuse, we will put acid in his eyes and blind him. Get the money, all in gold, 5, 10, and 20 pieces. Get in your buggy alone on the night of December 19th at 7 o'clock p.m. Follow the paved road toward Formont. When you come to a lantern by the side of the road, place the money by the lantern and immediately turn your horse around and return home. The kidnapper foresaw the possibility of C not paying the ransom and also referred in his note to the kidnapping of Charles Ross, age 4, in Philadelphia on July 1st, 1874, after being advised by police not to pay the ransom. His father, Chris Ross, never saw his child again. The C kidnapper noted that Christian Ross regretted for the rest of his life that he took the advice of police. Their note continued, Ross died of a broken heart, sorry that he allowed the detectives to dedicate to him. See, you are up against it, and there is only one way out. Give up the coin. Money we want, and money we will get. If you don't give up, you can lead your boy blind the rest of your days. At 7 p.m. on the night of the 19th, C alone arrived at the lantern, which was located near the little Papio Creek. He left the money along with a note in reply to the captors. He returned to the C mansion at 9:30 p.m. Eddie Jr. returned home at 1 a.m. unharmed. National response. Paying the kidnappers fueled a national debate. The Francisco Examiner condemned the action. Mr. C had acted as a bad citizen because it will encourage others. The OHMB noted that C spoke in a nonchalant tone about paying the $25,000 as though he had just dropped a nickel down a cellar grating. I don't know, it's a hard choice. When it comes to your kid, this is a hard choice that if any parent had that kind of money, ooh, it's like, you have my kid, what do I do? And it proved to work. I mean, it is so hard for me to, like, I have my own child. I'd be like, what do I do? Who do I listen to? Do I do what this guy did? Do I do what that guy did? I'm so confused. Like, if I had that kind of money, I do not have that kind of money at all. 0%. No. C posted a $25,000 reward and hired the Perkinton Detective Agency to lead a manhunt, which the World Herald called the nation's leading thrill. After a statement from Eddie Jr., reports found the kidnappers' hideout in South Omaha. Pat Crower, a small butcher shop operator in South Omaha, was identified as a suspect early in the investigation. However, nobody could find Crowe. During January 1901, Crow? I don't know how to say your name either. Sightings were reported by Central America to Nanatucket Island, with one report placing him on a steamship in Honduras and another at the Pin Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. Thousands of CR wanted posters were shipped across the United States. In March 1901, the Omaha City Council matched C's reward, and later in the month, a man named James Collingham was arrested from public drunkenness. His first fine for which he had paid with a shiny $20 gold coin, just like C had paid some of the ransom with. Collingham was also known to associate with CR. Police observed Collingham paying with the coin at taverns in Omaha, and on March 21st they arrested him for robbing C Sr. of $25,000. When he went to the trial, he did not face kidnapping charges. Nebraska had none that applied to the kidnapping of a 16-year-old with city limits. While the assumed charges did not change, Collingham trial on April 28th of January found him not guilty of robbery. Another trial in November also found him not guilty. CR communicated with the police department through the mail, despite agreeing to turn himself in after notifying the drop of the ransom in late 1901. C never showed up. In the spring of 1905, he turned up in Omahan and gave an interview to a World Herald reporter. However, he disappeared again on, on September 5th, 1905. He was spotted at a tavern in Little Birmingham. The ensuing gunfight left one police officer wounded and C vanished again. Corrupt and trial. In the early 1905, CR was captured by police in Butte, Montana. On November 28, 1905, CROWE pleaded not guilty to shooting the OMAHA police officer in the September battle on Hickory Street. He was also charged with robbing a streetcar in OMAHA of $50 and for robbing in the C kidnapping case. Despite 4 days of testimony from dozens of witnesses, the jury acquitted CR after 80 minutes of deliberation. The judge held him for the next trial, which began in February 1906. 92 witnesses were called by the prosecution and none was called by the defense. The Chicago Examiner, following the case along with many national newspapers, proclaimed the defense closing statement to be considered the best speech in a criminal case ever made in Omaha. After 70 hours of deliberation on St. Patrick's Day, 1906. Jeez. I cannot. It looks like 1606. Wow. The jury declared CR not guilty. Responding to the trial, the Washington Post wrote, Omaha is eventually a happy hunting ground for savages and malefactors. The aftermath. CW's criminal notoriety gained him fame as a lecture author and actor across the United States until he eventually died in poverty in Harlem in 1938. His written personal narrative of the stories are studied today for their authenticity. The kidnapping influenced Omaha businessmen to keep their children under close watch, including Tycoon Jordan W. Walters, who eventually moved to Hollywood to escape the tension in Omaha. C's family moved from Omaha to Chicago in 1910. He served in World War I and married Margaret Carey in 1919. The couple had 3 children and later divorced in 1942. His wife died several months after the divorce. In 1944, C married Eleanor Peabody. Crushenhan? Your names are hard. He eventually became chairman of the board of CR Packing and leading the company out of Omaha in the 1950s and returning to Arizona, where he died in 1966. That's all the information I could find on him. Interesting case, but at least he was found. I hope we all learned something from this, and dang. I guess it was a lot harder back then to figure out who did what, even if you have, that was a messy case. And poor dude. But at the same time, he got his son back, so I don't know how to feel. He's still not missing. And it's you're making me so confusing. But hopefully we learned something from this.